smashing, yes. You're just breaking it.
Yeah.
When you finish, you're going to get your...
It's gonna smash the seats as well inside?
Yes, a little bit. This stone is not very heavy, so it doesn't do a very good job, but it still breaks them a little bit. When you finish, you should have a nice soft olive paste. The olive oil is still inside that paste. And to get the olive oil, you're going to have to press it. Now, to press the paste, you're going to need to put it into little bags. I don't have any bags of this size at the moment, but I do have a bigger version to show you. Just a second. So you're going to use a bag of this design, similar to this, but this one is very big. You would need one about this big to do the work. These bags open and you put olive paste on the inside of the bag, and then you put your bag into your press. So you put your bag here in the center, you take about 10 bags on top of each other, and then you put a big piece of stone on top, and the stone slowly presses down on the paste, and the olive oil and the olive juice naturally separate and fall in the bottom container. At the end of the process, the water, the olive juice, should sink to the bottom, and the olive oil should flow to the top. And then you get your olive oil. Okay?
And how long takes it, this progress?
It could take a few days, so it's a long time. But it's very easy. You just leave it and forget about it. If you want extra pressure, you would have a pillar with a hole, and you put a piece of wood. You have the wood pressed down onto the bags of paste, and on the other side you put weights, and it slowly presses down. And again, oil would separate. I have not set it up yet. I'm still halfway through building it, but yes, normally it should be a wood here to do it. Okay?
You're gonna build this museum on all the...
Did you do it all?
Everything is available except for this piece of wood here, which I'm preparing now.
Yeah, but there's all this
The rest
museum.
the rest of the museum...
You made it, and your family made this museum.
Yes. The building was built in 6 years ago, but the machines are all coming from different time periods. These were added now because they were not original machines. We made them recently to have a more historic version of the machines. However, these ones here are the types of machines you would find being used more recently.
Yeah.
You would use a mill like this if you were a small farmer. So because of how long these processes take, usually every family in the village would have their own mill and their own press, and they would do their own processing. And you are not going to buy a very big mill if you're a small farmer. And in the same way, if you're a big farmer, you're not going to buy a small mill like this one. So we're going to start with a small mill.
Small farm, that means how many trees? Or how
It
they serve
doesn't
small
make
farm?
any difference how many trees you have. The difference is how many olives you can gather per day.
Okay.
Because you want to process every day. If the family is small and you can only gather, let's say, 50 or 100 kilos of olives a day, you're going to use something like this. But if you want to process much larger amount of olives, you're going to use something like that. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, to use it, you will take your olives, you will spread them.
These ones, the bags.
Yes.
That's exactly the same stuff.
It's exactly the same thing, so you're going to stack many bags on top of each other, temperature from the surrounding earth. And usually those would be in the basement of the house or in the building where the olive oil making machinery is. You do have a wooden top to go on top of it to close it up. Alright? Okay, now, over here we have our 3-wheel mill. This 3-wheel mill is a more high capacity mill compared to the first ones I showed you. This mill will almost always use a donkey to move it around instead of people. You're going to take your olives, spread them around the bottom of the mill, and then have your donkey to move the wheels around. Every wheel you see here is positioned at a different distance from the center. You have a smaller one closer to the center, you have a bigger one further away from the center, you have a medium-sized one somewhere in the middle. When the mills are turning, they cover all of the area of the mill. The screw itself is a ratchet screw, and it gives you complete control of the rotation of the screw. Here, you do not have the problem where you have to push the wood, remove it, put it into the next hole, and push again. The way this machine is set up at the moment, if I pushed, the screw would rotate with the lock, but when I pulled back, the screw would not turn.
Yeah.
This is done by this pin back here. If I pull this pin out, I turn it around and I put it in the other way, the machine will only rotate in the other direction.
Yeah. So like a tool.
Yes, exactly. Like a ratchet we use today, every day. Run. machine, you hold this piece of metal and you push it in, and this big mixer falls to the bottom and automatically pushes the paste out. The mill itself will empty itself after a few minutes of work, and then you have your paste in your container. All right? Nice and simple, much easier than a hand-powered press, mill, sorry. And then you can move on to your press. So what you see here is our pressing carts. Every factory is going to use these pressing carts to prepare their olive oil. They are going to have to put paste on the ring from here to here in a ring around the top, and then they are going to put the next ring on top, another layer of paste, their next ring on top, and they're going to keep stacking these layers on top of each other until the cart is full. A cart with its extension will fill with paste to a height about here, and then you can take your cart and you can push it into your press for pressing. Alright? Yeah? Okay. Now, the next machine the factory is going to use is a hydraulic full of oil underneath, some type of mineral oil for the pressure. The two pipes there are connected to the two pipes of the press. And for everything to work, you need your belt. This belt here is what brings you the power from the diesel engine, and as long as it sits on this outside wheel, the machine does not work. As you can see, I can move this wheel, nothing happens, but once I use this to push the belt to the inside wheel, this is going to power the pistons on the top. When the piston moves back, it pulls oil up. When the piston moves forward, it pushes the oil into the press, giving us pressure. As far as we know, this press would max out its pressure at 420 kilos per square centimeter. And when it was time to stop, you open the valve here, and this should release the pressure, and the piston can move back down. Alright? It was processed, will be put into a container, you will leave the oil to separate from the water naturally over time, and once you are finished, you take the oil that is floating at the top and give it to the farmer. Now, this is a bit of a problem, because the separation is never perfect. Now, as a farmer, you have a few choices to make. Greece, on its own as a country, has over 100 different types of olive trees you can choose from to make olive oil. Some olive trees are used only for eating, some olive trees are used only for olive oil production. In Corfu, the types of olives that we are using is two. Where the product works very well, the vibration machine, but for Gyár Koroneki, you lose a lot of the fruit if you use that, so you are not going to use it. You are losing too much. So instead you use this. This is an olive harvester. You have your opening here, which is designed to open the machine up to 3 meters. You connect a pipe with pressurized air here, you open the valve, and the ends here are going to start opening and closing about 2,000 times a minute, approximately. As you use this, you're going to brush down the surface of the tree, and this is going to help you remove the olives from the trees. Similar consistency through the container, and the second job is to bring the temperature of the paste to 25 degrees Celsius. If you process very low, you are not going to make olive oil. If you process very high, you are going to damage the oil in the process. So you need to control the temperature. For olive oil, any temperature under 28 degrees Celsius is cold pressed. Any temperature over 28 degrees Celsius is hot pressed. The higher the temperature, the more olive oil you make, but the more damage you do. Okay? And that's the difference of when you buy olive oil and it says cold press or hot press on the front. When the mixing tank is finished, we open, and the paste falls, and it moves through the conveyor systems, through the pump, through the pipes, and up into our decanter. The paste moves up through here, water comes into here, and they enter the decanter under this top. Alright? Now this top is here to keep the machine closed, but I will show you the open door over here. This is an open decanter, and decanters have a rotating drum or the replacement of the press. Modern olive oil factories don't use pressure, they use rotation to make olive oil. Now, up to this point, we have removed water waste. Water waste comes out through this pipe. We have removed olive oil. Olive oil comes out through this pipe. And we have removed the paste from the machine. The paste is sent to the back, and we are going to remove the seeds from the paste, the stones from the olive. And that is what you see here. These are the olive seeds, or the stones of the olives when the process is finished. And as you can see, they look like little pieces of wood. That is what it is. And you can put this into pellet burners and burn it to produce fire and heating.
Go for the biomass. Or you can make a briquette with pressure too and then make a
we sell
rope.
it like this.
Ah.
So this is what it's sold like. You can buy special burners designed to burn this as it is. Those burners that are designed to burn this can also burn pellets, diesel or wood. Depending on your setup, you can change them very easily. Olive oil enters through here, water enters through here. Water exits in this disc area and it comes out the back. Olive oil exits in this disc area and it comes out the front. When olive oil comes out of here, it is completely clean and ready to eat. From my factory, you get first pressed olive oil because of the technology we use. If the number is between 0.9 and 1.9, it is medium quality, and anything from 2% and higher is the lower quality product. The better the quality of your fruit, the closer your number is going to be to 0.